Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. Let's talk a bit about Don Charles because in previous videos I've said that I think Don Charles may well be the man for the job with regard to Daniel Dubois because Don is very, very passionate about his fighters, about not just training boxers, but getting them to be like good, self-assured, disciplined people. And that's a very noble thing. And also, as I mentioned before, when you are passionate, that can be infectious, and that can create confidence amongst people. And Daniel Dubois seems to be the sort of person who needs that father figure. He's obviously very close to his father, who I imagine has a very, very strong influence over him. And Don is a sort of second father, if you like, or he has that fatherly quality when he's in the gym and when he's in the corner of a fighter. And I think we saw that at work against Usyk. Now, the thing about passion is it can go two ways. You can be very passionate, very positive, and very, have a great influence over someone. But if you get passionate about the wrong thing, or you allow your passion to become out of control, as with any emotion, if it goes out of control and you're not in control of it's in control of you, that's obviously a very, very bad thing. And I think this has happened with Don Charles following the Usyk fight, because his claims that Usyk cheated, and he has come out in interviews and said, "You cheated, you are a cheat." He said it very, very explicitly. I think this is, number one, I think it's disrespectful to Usyk, because I don't think he did cheat. He may have milked being on the canvas, and taken the few minutes to recover. And also, if Don thinks that the blow was legitimate, that's fine. I haven't got a problem with him thinking that. But to say that Usyk, a man who has achieved all he's achieved on the road, making fights, being easy to make fights with, winning numerous titles in other people's backyards, to say that he actually cheated Daniel Dubois out of victory is at the very best a tenuous claim. But what it is also, and this is a statement of the obvious, it's incredibly insulting to someone who has proven himself to be a great champion, an elite fighter. Oleksandr Usyk and his team didn't referee that fight, and the referee was the one that said the blow was low, and he had to make that decision in real time, in a split second. So for Don Charles to come out and simply seethe and rage, and in one interview he even said, when someone said, "What do you say to people who say that Daniel quit?" which I think essentially he did at the end of the fight, mentally capitulated anyway. And Don said, "Well, they can come and see me, and I'll show them what a quitter is." This is John Fury area we're into here. He's saying these things because his emotions have got the better of him, and passion, like anything else, like any other emotion, like anger. I mean, anger can be a good thing if it's channeled correctly. Fear can be a good thing if it's channeled correctly. Don's allowed himself to sort of go off the cliff edge, if you like, to go into John Fury territory. And I think that's a real shame, because if you are that type of person, you've got to control your emotions or they will consume you. Now let's look at the positive, not positive, let's look at the possible negative effects that this type of behaviour has on Daniel. Daniel Dubois is a very, shall we say, it comes across as being quite a shy, naive character, someone who is easily led. I don't know the man, I've never met him. But to hear your trainers making these statements in such vitriolic and almost out of control terms, is that going to have a positive or a negative effect on Daniel? I think it's going to have a very negative effect on him, because what you need in times of crisis is a cool head. And it's okay for Don to say to Daniel, "Look, in my opinion, you won that fight, you knocked him out legitimately. I haven't got a problem with anyone saying that. But he should then be saying, but don't worry about it. All right, let's stay calm. You know, we'll go away. You did a lot of good things in there. We've got things we need to work on. And, you know, have that type of controlled, that kind of controlled demeanour and that controlled attitude. Because if you are someone who needs a father figure, when you go to your father figure for assistance, what you don't want is someone who's out of control. What you want, what you're actually looking for, whether this is a subconscious thing or not, whether you realise it or not, is you're looking for, a balanced head on good shoulders. You're looking for, a logical sense of thought, a logical thought, in other words. What you're not looking for is someone who's just seething at the mouth and frothing at the mouth, and you need a cool head, basically. And Don, post fight, certainly in the ring, I mean, he was virtually screaming. He didn't supply that, and I think that's going to be detrimental to Daniel Dubois, especially being the character he is. So, yeah, I'm disappointed in Don Charles. I actually got a lot of time for him. A lot of people say, he's not a very good trainer, and what's he ever done, bar Derek Chisora? I think it's a little unkind, but I think he has got some good quality. And also, people have also said about Daniel Dubois, is he really a fighter? Isn't he? I suspect that the criticisms in this area are true, that Daniel is actually just a very big guy whose father probably had an interest in boxing and guided Daniel into the ring, and Daniel, because he's so big and powerful, can go a certain way, and he has got talent, he's got ability, but doesn't really have a fighter's mentality. A lot of people on my previous video commented pretty much saying the same thing. I do tend to agree with that. But he has been British and Commonwealth champ, and I think he should drop down to a European level and work on things over the next couple of years and win the EBU title. Someone mentioned Ajit Kabayel as a possible opponent. I think that's decent. That's a good. I couldn't think of one in my previous video as a possibility, but yeah, Ajit Kabayel was a good one. Maybe a few others, and make it. Spend a couple of years getting his feet under the table, learning his craft. He's been there. He didn't deserve that. He didn't earn that fight with Usyk. It was politicking and clever manoeuvring by Warren, but he didn't do too badly. There were some good things in there, but he needs a lot of work. He's only 25, isn't he? So I don't really see a problem for Dubois just because of that defeat. The way he quit is a concern, and he did quit. But it is possible to reconstruct people's confidence. Maybe not give them a fighting mentality. Maybe that's a bridge too far, but you can certainly work on people's confidence and maximise their talent, maximise their potential. And I do think Don Charles could be the man to do that, but he has got to be more emotionally controlled. He's got to be. Anyway, those are just my thoughts on Don Charles. Let me know what you think. Leave your comments below as usual. And as always, of course, thank you for your time. Thank you for subscribing. Please subscribe if you're new. We'll build up Joe Stunner Boxing together. And hit the like button as well. That always helps us out. All right. Thanks a lot, and bye for now.